If you were a young driver in Britain during the 1970s, or even just someone who loved cars, you'll remember something rather interesting by today's standards. Most cars from the 70s weren't especially quick. Many family cars struggled to reach speeds that modern hatchbacks achieve without breaking a sweat. But back then, things felt very different. Roads were quieter, cars were lighter, and you didn't need hundreds of horsepower to get your heart racing. In fact, some of the most exciting cars of the decade would seem quite modest by today's standards. Yet, when you were sitting behind the wheel, listening to the engine, watching the road unfold ahead, they felt fast, properly fast. These were the cars pinned to bedroom walls, the cars that turned heads outside pubs, the cars that made young drivers dream. So tonight, let's take a proper trip back and look at 10 British cars that made the 1970s feel fast. And chances are, you'll remember more than a few of them. Number 1. The Ford Capri 3000 GXL IF. There was one car that defined affordable performance in 1970s Britain. It was the Ford Capri. Particularly, the 3000 GXL. Ford called it the car you always promised yourself, and thousands of drivers agreed. Long bonnet, sporty, styling, rear-wheel drive, and a V6 engine under the bonnet. You didn't need to be a racing driver to feel special behind the wheel of a Capri. Even parked outside the house, it looked fast, and when you put your foot down, it sounded every bit as good as it looked. For many young blokes in the 70s, owning a Capri was the dream. And for those lucky enough to have one, it felt like the fastest thing on the road. Number 2. The Triumph Dolomite Sprint. Now here's a car that often surprises people today, because the Triumph Dolomite Sprint was genuinely advanced for its time. This wasn't just a sporty-looking saloon. It had the performance to back it up. With its 16-valve engine, it became one of the fastest family saloons available in Britain. And unlike many sports cars, you could fit the family in it too. The Sprint looked smart rather than flashy, but drivers knew what it could do. And when one appeared in your rearview mirror back in the 70s, you paid attention. A proper Q car, before most people had even heard the term. Number 3. The Rover SD1 V8. When the Rover SD1 arrived, it looked like something from the future. Different from the executive cars that came before it. And when fitted with the famous V8 engine, it could really move. The SD1 wasn't just fast, it felt fast. The sound alone was enough to make an impression. Deep, powerful, unmistakable. You didn't need loud exhausts or aggressive styling. The V8 did all the talking, and for many drivers, this was the ultimate motorway cruiser of the decade. Number 4. The MGB. Ether MGB had already become a British favourite by the time the 70s arrived, but the GT version added something extra. A little more practicality, a little more refinement, without losing that sporty character. Now, by modern standards, it wasn't outrageously quick, but speed isn't always about numbers. It's about how a car makes you feel. And sitting low to the road with that distinctive MG soundtrack, the GT felt every bit the sports car, especially on winding country roads, and for thousands of owners, that was more than enough. Number 5. The TVR 3000M. Now, we're talking about something a little more serious. TVR wasn't building family cars, far from it. The TVR 3000M was built for drivers who wanted excitement, and plenty of it. Lightweight body, sharp handling, strong performance. This wasn't a car for showing off outside the supermarket. This was a proper driver's car. And because TVRs were relatively rare, spotting one always felt special. They had a reputation for being thrilling, sometimes challenging, but never boring. And that's exactly why enthusiasts loved them. Number 6. The Triumph Stag. The Triumph Stag is often remembered for its reliability troubles, and, we'll be honest, some owners certainly had stories to tell, but when everything was working properly, the Stag felt magnificent. It looked expensive, it sounded wonderful, and with its V8 engine, it had the performance to match. Driving with the roof down on a sunny day, there weren't many better ways to spend an afternoon. The Stag wasn't just about outright speed, it was about style, and in the 1970s, style counted for a lot. Number 7. The Lotus Esprit. This was the car that made people stop and stare. The Lotus Esprit looked like it had landed from another planet. Sharp angles, low profile, futuristic design. Nothing else on British roads looked quite like it, and thanks to its lightweight construction, it delivered the performance drivers expected. Then came its appearance in a certain spy film, and suddenly, everyone wanted one. Most people would never own an Esprit, but they certainly dreamed about it, because in the late 70s, few cars looked faster. Number 8. The Ford Escort RS2000. Now, here's a name that still excites enthusiasts today. The Escort RS2000 became one of Britain's most beloved performance cars, and it's easy to see why. Compact, lightweight, rear-wheel drive, and plenty of punch, the RS2000 wasn't about luxury, it was about driving. Owners loved the way it handled, the way it sounded, the way it made every journey feel exciting. Even a quick trip to the shops could feel like a special occasion, and that's exactly what great performance cars do. Number 9. The Jensen Interceptor. This was something truly special. The Jensen Interceptor combined British style with serious American V8 power. The result? A car that could effortlessly devour long distances. The Interceptor wasn't subtle, it wasn't particularly economical either, but nobody cared, because it had presence, real presence, the sort of car people stopped to admire, and when you heard that V8 rumble approaching, you knew exactly what it was. A proper grand tourer from a very different era. Number 10. The Jaguar XJ12. If you wanted speed and luxury in the 1970s, it didn't get much better than this. The Jaguar XJ12 was one of the fastest saloons in the world. Think about that for a moment. A large, luxury British saloon capable of astonishing performance, and it did it with remarkable smoothness. No drama, no fuss, just effortless speed. The V12 engine seemed almost endless, and the cabin felt more like a gentleman's club than a car interior, for successful businessmen, company directors, and anyone fortunate enough to afford one. The XJ12 represented the very best of British motoring. Looking back now, it's fascinating how our idea of speed has changed. Modern family cars often produce more power than the performance. Cars of the 1970s, they're quicker, safer, more efficient. Yet somehow, many people would still rather spend an afternoon driving one of these classics. Because speed wasn't just about numbers. It was about emotion. The sound of the engine, the smell of the interior, the feeling of changing gears, the excitement of seeing your dream car parked outside the house. These cars made people feel something, and that's why they're still remembered today. Not because they were perfect. Far from it. Some rusted, some broke down, some could be a bit of a nightmare to own. But they had personality, and personality is something you never forget, perhaps. That's why so many people still smile when they see one. Because, for a brief moment, they're transported straight back to the 1970s. A time when these were the cars everyone talked about, the cars everyone admired, and the cars that made Britain feel fast. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 1970s British performance cars was your favorite? Did you own one? Or was there another fast British motor that should have made the list? Go on, let me know in the comments. I always enjoy reading your memories. And there are always some fantastic stories whenever these classic motors come up. And if this video brought back a few memories from Britain's motoring past, give it a like. It helps keep these stories alive and allows more people to enjoy them. And if you fancy more journeys down memory lane, don't forget to subscribe. There's plenty more classic cars, forgotten stories, and nostalgic trips through Britain's past still to come. Because before supercars, before hot hatches, and long before modern performance machines, these were the cars that got hearts racing. And for many drivers, they still do.